Hello, hello, Happy New Year, and welcome back to the Holistic Witch's Cottage. My name is Melissa, and I am the Holistic Witch, and today we're going to talk about the New Year's, winter, Epiphany, weird crochet stuff that I'm working on, dowsing with pendulums, and I'll talk a little bit about a dowsing session I did, and had a weird visit from my dad in spirit because he's been gone a long time. So that's the topic for today. So let's see where to start. In the coffee cup, I have dark roast coffee with some skim milk, a little sweetener, and star anise. Not oil, not loose. It's like star-shaped. So I poured this about 20 minutes ago. I put it down here on my side table, getting my spot comfy to join you. And I sit down and I thought there was a spider floating in my coffee. So I had to stir it and twirl it around. Maybe you can hear that. No, it's just star anise floating gently upon the top of the coffee. So the reason I've been putting star anise in my coffee, other than the fact that it just tastes yummy, yummy like black licorice, star anise corresponds with good luck, protection, grounding, and psychic development. And I think this comes with the new year. Like with the new year, people set intentions, and I get some new people following me here and there and other places. And there's been a lot of questions about psychic development and how that pairs with the witchy world, if it does at all. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that over the next month. I won't do a dump on it today. I don't want to overwhelm everyone. But we will be talking a little bit about psychic development as the time flows on. So since our last podcast, which I think was the exercise one, basically an audio exercise class that I imported over from my Yoga and Time Facebook group. And people ask, like, why do you have separate groups? Why the main page? I have the Holistic Witches page. And then I have the camping group because that just sort of evolved over a joke, and it has over 1,000 people in it now, so I guess it was a joke that caught on. And then Yoga and Time was actually first. It was originally Yoga with Melissa, and there's like 14 billion Melissas that do yoga on social media. So I just changed it to a catchier name, so it's easier to find. The reason I still keep the separate groups, some people aren't interested in the stuff that I post on the cottage at all. Now, I do post on Yoga and Time from my page sometimes, and a couple people have actually complained about that. But sometimes I forget which profile I'm on, so oopsie. But I keep a separate Yoga and Time group because that's where I post my yoga live videos, because some of you like to watch how I adapt other yoga that you see online, and it's too difficult due to injuries, surgeries, age. Wonder Dog is coming. Come on up. And so I put my videos over there where they're a little more private, and I post a lot of the holistic herbal stuff over there too, just to kind of keep things compartmentalized so they're easier to find. So that's the reason why I do it that way. It may change in the future if I move completely to website format, but we'll see. Time will tell on that. Good morning, Wonder Dog. I thought you were napping. Momo the Wonder Dog is trying to talk on the mic to all the podcast peeps. I thought you were sleeping. What's up? You're interested? What is in Mommy's coffee cup? You can't have that, though. So are you going to join in today, or are you going to nap on Mom's lap? What's up, Buttercup? All right, so let's move on. We'll see how Momo cooperates, I'm going to have to lay the phone down because he's not going to let me do what I was doing. All right, so new intentions for the new year. We didn't go anywhere, due to work schedules and stuff. We didn't go anywhere. I went to bed pretty early. They always set off fireworks in our little corner of the universe at midnight. Those woke up kiddo, so he woke me up because he was disturbed about something. And they woke up Momo. So we didn't go out in the frigid, windy weather to see the fireworks. We can't always see them so well due to trees as we used to be able to, even though there aren't leaves on the trees. It's just, there's more cover than there used to be. But we did hear them, and we were like, good, that's over. Let's all go back to sleep, which we did. So not very exciting in the cottage household over the new year. But then we had pork loin that hubby made, which was very good. I made the collards with black-eyed peas recipe, and that was tasty. So tasty that we made a second batch the next day. So that may become a main staple here at the cottage. Everyone liked it, and it's very healthy, and I think we could all benefit from more leafy, dark greens. All of that stuff corresponds with abundance and prosperity and good luck and good fortune if you're into that type of folklore and superstition. What else do I have on my notes today? Because there's a lot. So I was planning on taking the tree down yesterday because January 4th was my dad's birthday when he was still alive on this human plane. And I was going to, and I got busy with other things, so the tree's still up, and I put the lights on this morning. I thought it would add to nice ambiance. Oh, I have to cover up Wonder Dog. Hang on. You gonna crawl under the cover? Okay. We'll see what happens with that. I thought it would make nice ambiance for my little podcast episode today. It's very beautiful and red, and the lights are pretty. And it got me thinking about, well, I usually leave it up past Epiphany, though. So Epiphany is January 6th. It is a Christian feast day. In some churches, it's a day of obligation. In some churches, it really depends on like what your denomination is, and I don't want to go too far of a deep dive into that today. We'll do that on another day, but not today. But it reminded me of something I need to refresh. So Epiphany symbolizes the visit of the three kings to the Magi in the manger, which isn't exactly how that historically probably happened, but that is how it is written. It also symbolizes the baptism of Jesus, which didn't happen until he was an adult in a river, and the wedding at Cana. Now, I lean towards Gnostic Christianity, and I know some of my friends and some of my followers do as well. Now, the significance of the wedding at Cana, the Bible story, and I should have pulled a Bible out for this, but the Bible story is that they ran out of wine, they were running out of wine, they ran out of wine, and Mary, Mother of Jesus, said something to the effect of, we need more wine, and the miracle was that he turned water into wine. I wish I could snap my fingers and have that superpower, although Miss Melissa does know how to turn water into wine. It just involves some other ingredients and a lot of time and some really cool bottles. And I've done episodes on winemaking before, and I'm sure I'll make more. I'll make more wine, and I'll make more episodes about wine again in the future. but not today. So those are the three main things that are celebrated: the divinity of Jesus, the visit by the kings, Jesus' baptism, and the wedding at Cana. So above my back door, which is the main one that we use here at the cottage, I did an Epiphany blessing last year, and I had run out of chalk and the weather was horrible, so I couldn't get out to get some. So I made my own chalk out of cornstarch, which I absolutely know that hubby was not thrilled that I did this, but it's the first time that the writing stayed up all year because I can see it from where I'm perched on my couch next to my Christmas tree, and you can still see the blessing that I wrote last year. So I'm going to try to figure out how to clean that one off before I do a new one. And once again, I'm not sure I have any chalk, so I guess I'll be mixing water and cornstarch to make my own again, and get out a paintbrush and do it again and displease some people again. But, it is what it is. Which as you wish. And sometimes for me that involves cornstarch and water and playing watercolors like a little child. All right. So if you want to do a house blessing and you are confident and comfortable with doing it yourself, when my mom still belonged to the Polish Catholic Church, one of the priests, after he left, the other ones wouldn't do it. But the one priest always came to the house every year. Now, he didn't do them all in Epiphany. He did them sometime between Epiphany and Easter. I guess his schedule was very busy. I don't know. But he would come to the house and write on the door with chalk. Now, because of my shaky, sketchy history with different churches, that sounds so much more dramatic than it is. I just never really found a great fit. After the first husband left, I wasn't allowed to come back to my longtime church anymore. We attended others over the years. Our favorite church is actually shut down now. And I should mention this while it's in my head, but the priest who married hubby and myself passed away just before Christmas. I didn't know until I saw it in the obituary in the little free newspaper we get. So may perpetual light shine upon Father Bill. Excellently cool, awesome guy. We attended his church for quite a while, and then, as drama often happens, and the drama involved my mother, which often happened, we had to step away from there for a while, and then I went back, but by then things were pretty much ending there, and that building is just empty and has broken windows now, which is pretty sad. But because of some of the church drama that we had, my older son is on the autism spectrum, and Christopher had all kind of medical problems. When he was a baby, people would get annoyed with us if we didn't attend every week, and there were just some weeks that I couldn't attend because the kids weren't able. I had some surgeries and things too. And so that's when I decided to attend online seminary, and I got ordained myself. So I feel confident in doing my own blessings. I am ordained. There's plenty of ways to go about that for free or free and then do classes if you wish. That's what I did. So the basic principle of it is you're going to use some kind of holy water, so you can bless your water yourself. I actually use moon water for mine because I just like the idea of sprinkling the door with water that's been kissed by moonlight. I just think it's cool. So that's why I do it that way. And then you take your chalk, and I have notes for this because I will screw this up. with chalk on the top of your doorway. You write the letters C, M, B, and then the year. So this year it would be CMB 2026. I can still see CMB 2025 on my doorway from last year because it's written in cornstarch and it may not be removable. And I'm going to try though. And then I'll do the new one today. Oh, my music just glitched. That was weird. Don't do that, Podbean. I pay a lot of money for this service. Da, 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 da. Sounds like it's back on track now. Okay, that was weird. I don't know if you heard that on your end, but I heard it on my end. Okay, so writing on the door. I got distracted again. Writing on the door, CMB 2026. I believe this is Latin, and it's Christus Mansionem Benedict. And honestly, I don't remember what that means, and I should have probably looked that up. When I read it out loud to practice this morning, I said, like, wow, I feel like I'm in an episode of Charmed, and that kind of creeped me out, so I didn't go any further with that. Latin, not a big part of anything I do, but I will write the chalk blessing on the door. Now, some other things people do in different parts of the world for Epiphany are baby cakes. They make a ring or circular shaped cake. An angel food pan or a bundt pan would probably work for this. And then they put a representation of a baby. It could be like the baby Jesus from the manger, or make a little baby Jesus out of something. I don't know. And then they put it in the middle of, they stick it in the cake, and then they bake the cake. And then whoever gets that slice of cake with the baby is supposed to host all the parties for the rest of the year. I hate parties. I'm not hosting any parties. That's actually not true. Sometimes out in the community, I help host parties. I won't be hosting any parties at the cottage because it's too small for that. And so whoever gets the baby is blessed with abundance and good luck. And I'll just put star anise in my coffee for that. Thank you. I don't want to get a baby Jesus in my cake. And then they're supposed to host all the parties for the year. So that's a tradition I don't think is very cool. I will not be doing that one. I thought this was cool. I wrote it down in my notes as polar bear plunges for crosses. But in some European countries, to symbolize the baptism of Jesus, they jump in rivers or freezing cold rivers or lakes or whatever. They bless the water, too, on this day. So they do the same thing, the CMB in the year, and bless water, too. Like bless lakes and rivers, not like a glass of water, but they bless, like, large bodies of water. I've never seen that done, but it's cool. Maybe I'll go do one tomorrow. Maybe that would be a cool and weird thing to do. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it just for funny. I'll make a video. It'll be funny. I'll make a reel. I'll get lots of views. Or not. Or not. All right. So I have no desire to drop a crucifix or a cross necklace in freezing cold water and jump in it and retrieve it. If y'all are into that, that's cool. If you would like to do a representation of it, maybe put a basin or a little container of water outside. Drop your cross in it. Say your little blessing. I'm blessed from all hardships and all cold. And then retrieve your cross. But I am not jumping in a lake in January for this. The other one I wrote down was Day of Lights. I think this was more Greek. But that's just all about the candles and all about the Christmas lights and making everything shine bright and pretty. When I do dowsing and different things, I always like candles to call in the protective light of the Holy Spirit. So on the Day of Lights, if they want to use Christmas lights and lamps and lanterns to do that, that's perfectly cool too. So there's some things you can try for Epiphany if you're into that. So I have to remember to take care of the blessing on the back door later. Well, I guess I have like till tomorrow because it's January 6th. So I've got a day to find chalk. Okay, another thing that happened was we had a little problem with FedEx. It involves a neighbor, so I don't want to go into much detail about that, but FedEx delivered the package at the wrong place. It is not the first time, and there's always weird, awkward drama about that. Now, I was hanging weird crocheted stuff in my windows. For Christmas, I had crocheted stars with little sprigs of thyme woven into them because it smelled good and it was cute. And thyme, the herb, corresponds with keeping respiratory illnesses away, so that's why I hang it around the house. But I took two of the crocheted stars down, and I've never done these before. I Googled it. I was like, my husband said, hubby said, they make like those evil eye stickers. We should get evil eye stickers and stick them on the windows. I'm like, well, that's weird. But then we made a joke about it and thought it was funny. And I said, well, I don't want to put stickers on the windows. I wonder if they make window clings of those. I couldn't find any. I Googled it and Amazoned it. They may be out there. I just couldn't find them. I have a laminator. I could make my own, but I was like, hey, I always hang crochet crap in my windows. So I wonder if I can find a pattern to make like an evil eye crochet pattern. And I found a lot of them, and some of them are really pretty. So I was playing around with making different patterns on that. So they look like little eyes, and they're circled in blue, and I hung fringes and beautiful beads, wooden beads on them, and that is to reflect misfortune and protect us, and hopefully remind the FedEx guy to bring our packages to our house and not throw them in the front yard of the neighbors, because that's rude, and I wish he wouldn't do that. So I'm at 22 minutes. I'm going to get to the main part of the video. I'm not on video today. I'm on audio today. The main part of the podcast, which was dowsing with Dad. So yesterday was my dad's birthday, if he was still alive in the human plane. And he would have been 99 years old if he was still alive. So as I was writing that, I thought, like, that feels weird. Like, 99 feels so old. My dad has been gone a long time. He passed in the 90s, so in the 1990s. So he's been gone a long time. I have talked before. I have some PTSD and some past trauma of events with my parents. I don't want to go into that too much today. I've done so much shadow work and some hypnotherapy with an online friend who is a certified hypnotherapist, and I've done other therapies to try to get past some of that. I know it was a very hard time. My parents grew up during the Depression. It was a very hard time for them, and they had their own traumas, and I forgive them for that, but I'm still working through some of mine. But I'm a fairly experienced pendulum dowser, which means you do readings with pendulums, and I'll talk just a tiny bit about the basics about that. I used to put up protections so my parents wouldn't come through. I have some psychic abilities. My kiddo has much stronger psychic abilities than I do, which is pretty common for kids, actually. He's a teenager, but he's still hung on to some. So we use some protections and some strategies to make life a little smoother around here for him, and sometimes it's just an annoying distraction. Like when spirit activity, if it floats through your home or your space, it may mess with your electronics or make your lights flicker. Some of that can be mundane stuff. I mean, it was windy last week here, so we had a lot of brief power outages. But if everything is going well and the lights are flickering, sometime you might just want to say, if it's a spirit making the lights flicker, make them flicker 3 more times. If you get a response, you probably have something floating through. That bothers some people more than it bothers me. It's been happening to me my whole life, so I am used to it. So when the lights get real flickery, or on special holidays, or in this case, like my dad's birthday, I get the pendulum and board out. Some people have asked me, do you dowse every day? Absolutely not. And the reason that I don't is I have a pretty detailed ritual, I guess that's the right word. I have a procedure that I do before I get the pendulum and board out, and it involves candles. This sounds like really spooky. It's not. It's more like religious than spooky. I get candles out. I cleanse the area. I set up religious protections because I don't want anything with low vibration or anything inappropriate to come through. And it's a pretty detailed procedure, so I don't want to go through that every day. The other thing is I don't want spirit activity to become comfortable with conversing with me every day, because dowsing is a very slow process, and I'm too busy to spend an hour or two on this every day trying to assist everything that might float through the house. I can talk more in upcoming episodes about some other weird things that have happened, and the deceased friends or relatives of people I know coming through trying to get me to do things for them. Again, if you're not a dowser or you don't believe in psychic abilities, then this probably all sounds like, BS. But it can be very, very energy draining and time consuming. I do it from time to time. I actually enjoy dowsing, but it's not something that I would want to do every day. So, dowsing for Dad. It was my birthday. Not my birthday. His birthday. So, I had planned to do it anyway. In the meantime, somebody online had reached out to me. They were having a problem and asked me if I would dowse for them. That actually happens a lot, too. And I don't want people to become comfortable with calling me at all hours of the day or night and asking for free dowsings, because it's annoying, and then they get angry when I don't have time to do it. But in this case, it was a pretty significant thing, and I said, yes, I will have the board out later, so I'll do a dowsing for you. And it actually turned out what was going on with her was a mundane problem, so that's good. It wasn't what she thought it was, so that's good. So to my dad part. So I lit my candles, I prepared my board. I keep herbs on I have like hundreds of herbs here because we grow our own. But I keep dried sage in my kitchen, sometimes for cleansing, sometimes for cooking. So I cleansed the space with sage smoke first, and then I light all my candles, and then sage the board, sage smoke the pendulum, and then I dangle the board and the pendulum above the candle. Fire safety is real in the witchy world, so be careful with that. You don't want to set your board on fire. But I protect everything with the white light of the Holy Spirit, and then we proceed. So let's get to the main part of this. So first, I asked the questions for the young lady who contacted me online. Discovered that her situation was completely mundane. The wind had blown something in. It was not somebody trying to do anything to her. And everything seems to be fine. So yay for that. So then I reach out The pull on my pendulum, I was using amethyst yesterday, was extremely strong. Birthdays can sometimes be liminal times in liminal spaces where it's easier for spirit communication. Now, my dad comes through quite often around here now. I used to make sure that he couldn't, but his energy is not, I don't want to say meanness, but his energy is not as narcissistic and abusive as it used to be. So I can tolerate it better than I used to be able to when he was alive, and even, in the past 20 years coming through as spirit. So Dad checked in. He said his usual things. I confirmed that it was him I calibrate the board by doing some yes and no's, and then it started spelling out his name, because that's his tell, B-I-L-L, B-I-L-L. And then a phrase that is common to my area, which is so dumb, is eat 'em up, Osceola. If you know, you know, and I'm not going to explain what it all means, but my dad used to yell that all the time, eat 'em up, Osceola, eat 'em up, Osceola. And so when the pendulum starts spelling out, eat 'em up, it's, that's his tell, that's his calling card. So I said, happy birthday, and I asked him if they have birthdays in the plane where he's at, and he said yes. And I said, are you celebrating your birthday today? And Pendulum responded yes. And I asked him, I said, it's really weird. If you were still here, you would be 99, almost old as Dick Van Dyke, which I got a swear word in response because I expected it. And then I said, how old are you on that plane? And he said 99. I said, oh, that's cool. So do you look 99? He said, no, 35, which he has said before that he prefers to look like he did when he was 35. Now, my parents were older than when they had me, so I never saw Dad at 35 except for a few pictures that float around. So that's kind of hard for me to wrap my mind around, but that's cool. So I asked him if he was having a party, and he said hanging out at the bar, which is typical. And I said, which bar? I asked which bar, and he said, and I said, oh, well, what year is it there? And he said 2012, which I thought was weird because he usually, when I ask what year it is, he says like the 1970s. So I thought it was weird. And I said, who are you with? And he said, brother. And I said, whose brother? And I got no response. And I said, spell out the name of the person that you were with. And he spelled out his brother, Russ. Now, kind of a creepy, not so fun story about that. When my mom passed away, my Uncle Russ was very, very ill. And his doctor had told him not to travel from New York to Pennsylvania for this funeral. And he chose to anyway. And he was like a jokester guy. Maybe that's where I get some of this weird wannabe stand-up comedian crap from. But he was a jokester kind of guy. He was a funny guy. And they had brought him in his wheelchair and special unit for this. And again, a Star Trek reference, if you know, you know. The old references to Christopher Pike and the box-shaped wheelchair, that's almost like what they had my uncle in. It was really odd. But he was completely cognitively there and making jokes and talking to everybody. He was just in horrible shape, but he was very alert. Okay. So let's jump forward. So he was at the funeral and he was talking to everybody, and he even said a few kind words about my mom. And then after the funeral, we were traveling about a half a mile to Mom's old church to have the dinner, and he passed away on the way. He passed away in our town, his hometown, as well, on the trip up the street from the funeral home to the church, which is only about a half a mile on one street. So the reason this might be important, it makes me wonder, like, my dad would never travel. He always says, like, it's the 70s. One time he said it was the 40s. He usually says it's the 1970s. 2012 resonates because that's very close to the time when my uncle passed. So it makes me wonder, since he said Russ was with him, if my dad needed somebody else to travel to be into another time plane with, if that makes sense. Because Uncle Russ was still alive in 2012. And then he said some dude named Jay was with them. I'm like, who's Jay? And he, nothing. I said, do I know Jay? No. I said, okay, I don't know Jay, so it doesn't matter. So I said, what are y'all drinking? And of course it spelled out beer. And I said, ew, what kind? And it spelled out Genesee. I've gotten these responses before, so I made a rude comment back. And then I said, it's weird because Kiddo and I went in, it used to be like the Country Six-Pack shop, and now it has a new name, new ownership. I think they're Pakistani. I could be wrong on that. But we went in because I wanted to get a 4-pack of Guinness Stout for hubby for Christmas, and went in and couldn't find it. And I asked the guy, and he took me to like a 32-pack, like a big case of Genesee. And I said, no, not Genesee, Guinness. And he said, oh, Guinness, I thought you were here to buy a case of Genesee. And like, no, I would never touch that stuff. Now, the reason I'm bringing up that stupid story is my dad, the Pendulum, said 6-pack shop. So he said it was him that told the guy Genesee. I don't know if they can do that, but I just think it's funny and odd. My music's wonking out again. Okay. So we get through the Genesee thing. I make fun of the Genesee, and I said, okay, well, if you can see me, what do I drink? And he said coffee, and which is true. I'm like a coffee addict. I said, yes, coffee, that's correct. I said, if I'm doing holiday spirit, what do I put in my coffee? And he wrote whiskey and the brand, which makes me think he can see what we do. I don't do that very often, but he wrote whiskey and the brand. Now, again, for anybody that thinks this is complete BS, I have taught classes in the community and online, free on Yoga and Time. You can go back and look on Reels. They're there. But when you dowse with a pendulum, you may be talking to spirit if you believe that. There is a concept called the ideomotor reflex, where it's your own subconscious controlling the pendulum through micro movements. So it could be that I could be doing all this myself, or I know people who just do it for funny and just influence it because they think they're making fun of whatever. So whether or not any of this was real, what I'm telling you is 100% accurate of what I read. Whether this was actually my dad contacting me, leave that to your own judgment. Whether it was the ideomotor reflex that my own subconscious was causing this, use your own judgment. Because honestly, I'm not certain. But so, ask a couple more questions. My dad was actually the one that told me in the future that I was going to be a podcaster. I was looking into it, but the first I said, like, I'm at kind of a crossroads with career. Can you see into the future and what I'm going to do? And and it was the Pendulum was the first one that said the podcast, which is kind of cool. But again, maybe that was my own subconscious doing that. There was a reference to a book that my son is writing with the name of the title, which I did not know. So that's where I put some doubt out there. I did not know the name of the title of he's working on an ebook for Kindle. I did not know the name of the title, and the name of the title came through on the Pendulum, and I had never been told the name of the title. So, I don't think I influenced that one, so it's cool. So I have an online friend, her videos, her YouTube channel is Take What Rings True. I'm not stealing her mantra, but I mean, believe what you want and leave what you don't. It's cool. I'm gonna sum this up. I had promised in January I would kind of go back to some basics on stuff. As far as labeling, the witch word, the W word, psychic, medium, any of those words, if you're uncomfortable with them, just don't use them. I grew up in a culture that was influenced by women that today are being referred to historically as like the Appalachian granny women or the Appalachian granny healers. This was a tough place. This was a tough part of the world to grow up in. And these women lived through the Depression. They learned, or they knew the old ways and they kept them alive. And I learned some of what I know from them. I have much respect for what they did. I made a Star Trek reference about this today. There is an episode on Star Trek. It's about a colony that's based on the Scottish Highlands, and one of the main characters' grandmother was a Scottish granny woman. She was a granny healer. And so this is real. This is all real stuff. Historically, these people existed. I didn't use the W word, the witch word, until people in the neighborhood started making wisecracks about it, because one year we had sunflowers here at the cottage that were 15 feet high, and somebody said, "Don't go in her yard, she must be a witch." That's when I just started rolling with it, because we thought it was funny. Like, I started wearing t-shirts and a hat with a W on it. I was actually being pretty obnoxious about it. And whether you're comfortable with the W word or not, just remember, everything's connected. We're connected to our ancestors. We're connected to our history. Some of us are much more into the nature thing and like green witchery and working with plants. I like cooking and kitchen craft. I prefer to do things the old ways. If you're bothered by the W word, that's okay. You don't have to use it. I have people contact me about that all the time. If for religious reasons you are bothered by certain terminology that's used in the communities, that's okay. You can skip that too. I mean, everybody should do what they're comfortable with in their own comfort zone, because I have been doing this online, not the podcast, but the social media stuff for years. I'm pretty comfortable with everybody's terminology, even if it applies to stuff that is nowhere associated with my faith practice. We'll just sum it up on the Christian thing again, because it's still coming up. It's like a week past Christmas, guys. It's time to let it go. If you are completely bothered by any of the Christianity that I myself post, or that other contributors post on any of my social media, if Christian topics still bother you to the point where you can't just scroll by without reporting, maybe it's time to take a break and hang out somewhere else, because the Christian topics aren't going away. They're not going away. It's who I am. As I sit here in my house contemplating how I'm going to make chalk that doesn't smear this year. I've got crosses all over my living room. We've got angels. I've got a shelf in here with a Mary and a baby Jesus snow globe. I mean, Christianity is a big part of my faith, is a big part of my practice. I'm also someone that has some psychic abilities, and I feel like that's a gift from God in my case. It may be different for other people, but that's how it is for me. We've hit the 45-minute mark. I'm going to leave it at that. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, much blessings, many blessings on your journey. As far as yoga and time this week, I may do another podcast, but there was a request. There were some memes of yoga poses that people asked for adaptations on. I will probably do a video on Wednesday on yoga and time to show some modifications for some common yoga poses again. I'm happy to do that. And I don't have any big plans really this week except for to continue to clean up after the holidays. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I wish you well, which as you wish or not. Everything's connected. And bye-bye. If you're lucky, you can hear the church bells in the background. Maybe they'll give you some good luck too. Have an awesome week. Bye-bye.